everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a VR, and I kind of took a look to see what was going on out there. And there's a couple new ones, but not anything that's really speaking to me. So I decided to do one that's been around for a while, but it really resonated with me, and that is the hashtag 7 decks for deadly sins. I don't know, it makes sense to me. I liked the prompts. I thought it was pretty cool. So the 7 deadly sins that we're looking at is greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, sloth, and pride. So the first prompt is greed. Now, you've seen this deck in my other VR that I did, and I hate to repeat things, but it's seriously my greed deck. And I can't remember if it was on Lisa Pepez's channel. I don't remember who I saw this on, but they kind of put like phrases with each one of the prompts, which helps you to put it, to pick a deck to put into the category. And so the prompt with greed, the saying or the I don't know what you want to call it, the sentence to go with it is a deck you don't share with anyone. This is my deck I don't share with anyone. I used to share it with tons and tons and tons and tons of people, but I don't anymore. So this is my little old ratty used Llewellyn. I still have its book. I still have its little decrepit, destroyed box. I've had it for a really long time. This was in my other VR you saw. This was the first tarot deck that I actually was able to purchase myself. It's really dirty. I kind of told you stories about it on the last VR, so I'm not going to go crazy on it. And I'm sure everyone has seen this deck a million times, but this is my deck. I don't let anyone touch it. I don't share it with anybody. It doesn't even sit out where all of my other decks are. This sits into a cabinet where nobody can visually see it, but I know it's there. And that's because with me teaching and the different stuff that goes on here on the Reiki exchange nights, sometimes we get into tarot card decks and oracles and we get looking at them, and I purposely keep it hidden away because I don't want anyone touching this deck. This is mine and all mine. And like I said in the other VR that I shared this deck, it used to go to parties with me. I used to, drink and party and sit around tables and do tarot card readings with anybody that wanted a reading. And I just did it for fun. And sometimes the readings got pretty deep, though, and it wasn't so much fun. Sometimes it got a little heated, but that's what it is. But this is my greed deck. This is all for me. I don't share it with anyone. Like I said, it stays put away, and you wouldn't even know it was here unless you were me, right? So I kind of hide it and I keep it away from everybody. But yeah, so that's my greed deck, and it's my Llewellyn. So the next prompt is wrath, a deck I'm angry with. And it's this deck right here. This is this I don't even know if it even has a brand, but it's a Rider-Waite. And I bought it to do readings with clients. And I love its coloration. I think it's so cool. But do you want to know why I'm angry at it? Because of this. It is like glass. It is so shiny and glossy that I can practically do my lipstick in it. And when it's sitting down flat on a table in a spread, there's so much shine and glare off of these cards that I can't even see them. So I can't even use them for readings or for the purpose that I bought them. And that really sucks because they're super cool and I really like the way that they're made and I love the coloring on them and they're phenomenal. You know, they seem like they're going to be pretty durable, but like look at how shiny. They're literally like glass. So I'm mad at them. I'm really pissed because I waited a long time for them to show up. I bought them. I was so excited about them getting here. Like there's so much about them that I love. Like even the backs. Like look how cool those are. Just a really cool deck to read with, right? You know, I do like my traditional rider weight, especially when I'm reading for clients. And I don't know. I just like look at like I don't know who does that. Who makes a deck this shiny? But like I said, it's awesome looking. It's so cool. They actually kind of look little like collage artworky. You like my words there? Collage artworky. They do have a collage look to them, the way that they've been made. They do kind of look like cutouts. And I don't know, they're super awesome. But I'm I'm mad at them because they're so shiny. But I mean, what are you gonna do, right? I'm not gonna get rid of them because they're super cool. That is my that is my raft deck. Is my custom rider weight. I guess it's what you would call this. I don't know, but my super shiny rider weight. So the next prompt is envy. A deck you wanted because others had it. So this one, there was a couple, but I think this one was probably the best fit, and that's the Holy Spectrum. Now, I wanted this deck because I kept seeing it everywhere, all over Instagram. I was really drawn to it. I wanted it because everybody else had it and everybody had such amazing experiences with it. And I was super duper drawn to it. And I was like, I'm getting this. Like, this is it. Like, it's happening, right? I mean, it's got black, like matte black backs. Like, how cool is that? It's edging. Like, this is just an amazing deck all the way around. When I first got it, I was so pumped, pulled it out, started working with it, doing stuff with it, and I had a hard time reading it. I had a hard time connecting with it. And I was so upset. And, you know, I was like, what the heck? Like everybody was having these profound experiences with it. And I wanted to experience that, I guess. I love this High Priestess card. It is phenomenal. If you know this deck, it's on there. You can barely see it. See there, if I hold it a little bit. It is a very light sketching of the High Priestess. It's phenomenal. I love this card. It's one of my favorite High Priestesses. The texture and the feel of this cardstock is amazing. But like I said, I had a hard time connecting with it. And it just was very much out of the norm for me to get. It wasn't a typical style that I'm drawn to. It's very modern, almost kind of cosmic feeling. And I had a really hard time with it. But then we had a moment and I connected with this deck very deeply. And I actually really, really like this deck. And I love so much about it. And I really enjoy sitting down and having readings with it. I think it's phenomenal. I love it. I'm so happy it's part of my collection now. But I was nervous there for a little bit and I was kind of like, I don't know, like I must have just wanted it and purchased it because everybody else wanted it and it was the hot thing at that time. And I just, I don't know. I feel like I kind of, you know, followed the pack, right? But it changed and we got very close and I really like this deck now. And I'm, like I said, I'm super glad it's part of my collection. And I would never take back getting it now. I love it. There's so much about it. There's so many cards that I absolutely love. And I think it's a very clear, precise reader. The color palette's really interesting. How it's like the primary colors, like super cool. But yeah, so I feel like this is my envy, and it is the Holy Spectrum. So the next prompt is Lust, a deck you like for aesthetic reasons only. This was kind of hard too because, like I said, I don't keep them if they don't work for me, but I do have two very aesthetically pleasing decks that I don't work with. They come out on rare special occasions only. And I'm only going to show you guys one of them, but I'll show you both in the box. So these are my two museum quality edition decks. So we've got the Visconti and the Sola I think it's Busca. I might be pronouncing that wrong. But so these are for aesthetic purposes. The Sola is actually really hard to read, um, just because of the way the cards are laid out. And then the Visconti is the one I'm going to show you guys. So these are both aesthetic decks, but we're going to look at this one. Just got to make sure it doesn't fall off the edge of the table. The Visconti, I don't know if anyone knows anything about it or not, but this is an extremely beautiful set that was made to be exact replicas of one of the oldest existing decks. The cards are humongous. You can only king shuffle them. You can't do anything else with them. I keep them in order because that's how little I actually use these. Oh, let me see. Do I got it? Yeah. Okay. I have the top card flipped to keep it safe. And they are full of so much gold gilding, I guess you would call this. Gold and silver gilding, right? And I'm going to keep this one face up because I don't, like I said, I do not put these face down. I do not want them scratched. My husband bought these for me for Christmas one year. Like, do you see how shiny they are? They are insane. So the deck that this is meant to represent or look like are actually made out of copper plates and are actually engraved and done on copper plates. So look at that silver. See that? This camera is going to have one hell of a hot time trying to pick this up. So they're made to represent the copper plates. And I mean, the silver, I'm going to take a couple bunches so we can get down to the silver, even though I'm sure this is a deck where you want to look at every card. This is old school. This is going way back. This is going back to, you know, the days. I believe this deck comes from 1442. Yep, 1442. So this is the deck of Renaissance quartz. It is old. Look at that death card. There's the devil. Tower. It's going to be so hard to pick up the detail. It's Temperance. That was the star that just passed. Here's the moon. And then the sun. but I want to get down and show you guys. So, and it's got extra cards, which I believe are Pride. Ugh, I can't remember. But then look at these. This is when you get into the minors. They are so heavy plated. Like, look at them. I don't even know. They're gorgeous. So obviously Pip, right? And then you get into the royals. So you can see why this is for aesthetics, right? Like I only bring it out once in a blue moon. It is so beautiful though. I can't it's just gorgeous. And the interesting thing is it's got princess, knight, queen, king. Oh wait, no. This one was very different. So yeah, it was the prince and princess. And I think it's the maiden and the knight, and then the queen and the king. So that's how it was read, which makes so much more sense to me. Instead of having just a page, a knight, a queen, a king, doesn't it make sense to have your prince and your princess as your youth and energy, your maiden and your knight as your, middle aged, and then your queen and king as your, as your older, as your elder group, right? So I don't know. I This is a really well thought out deck to me. Like, I mean, I don't know why we got away from that structure, right? These are just gorgeous. I can't even. Sometimes I just sit and get lost in these for like ever. Princess, the prince, the maiden, the knight, the queen, and the king. How cool is that, eh? And I'll just show you fast the swords. They're pips. There's not really a whole heck of a lot to look at, right? When they're the pips. But they're gorgeous, though. And they're humongous. That one's cool, eh, with his silver armor. I think I like the silver gilding better. But yeah, so that's my lust. Is my beautiful museum quality Visconti. So the next prompt is Gluttony, a deck that you didn't want but you purchased it anyways. This one was really hard for me to find something that fit in this. And I think the only thing I have, because usually when I purchase, like usually when I buy a deck, it's because I want it. So I think this is the only one I can think of. And it's silly, but hocus pocus. I didn't really want the deck because I'm not a huge fan of Insight Editions stuff. The only other deck that I have by them is Labyrinth, and I guess it would fit in this prompt as well too. Because both of these decks, the only reason why I purchased them is because I'm a fan of the movie. And Labyrinth was when it came out when I was a kid, and it was a big deal. Like it was like the movie that I grew up to, right? Like it was the movie that I watched as a child. And then Hocus Pocus came out, I'm gonna say in my early teens, and I loved it. I felt that it was funny, it was a great movie. It was well thought out. It has to do with witches. I mean, come on now. And so the reason why I bought this deck is because I'm a fan of the movie. didn't actually really want the deck. And the funny thing is I actually bought Stranger Things. And when it got here, I looked at it and I liked it, but there was things about it that I really didn't like. So I chose to return it, and I returned it and bought this one instead. So this one, I know Inside Editions is known for its lazy pips. This one's okay. It it gets a little repetitive, but to me it's just more for the nostalgia. And I just, I bought it because I really like the movie. And I guess that's really the only reason why I bought it. So I actually didn't want the deck, but I chose to purchase it because I'm a fan of the movie. But I never use this deck. I might pull it out during, Halloween, and that's about it. And like I said, I'm just not a fan of Inside Editions decks. They're mediocre. Their card stock's not that great. Like, there's just a lot of issues with it all the way around, right? But it's hocus pocus. So I bought it. Just like I bought the Labyrinth one. And I do like that they do movies and stuff like that that are memorabilia, kind of more like, right? So this is my Glutton deck. It's the deck that I didn't want, but I purchased it anyways. So the next prompt is Sloth, a deck you use when you're feeling lazy. So this one, like I said, this one took a little bit. There's a couple different decks I had to look at, but I chose this one. I chose the Sassurabito. And the reason why I chose this deck is because this deck is just really comfortable. It's really easy to read. Its messages are extremely straightforward. There's cards in here that remind me of people that are in my life. So I have an association and connection easily with these cards. The card stock's beautiful. It's it's comfy. And when I want a deck to read when I'm lazy, it's because I don't want to work for it. I just want it to be straightforward. And this card right here is one of the cards that remind me of two people in my life, and they look so much like it. Like, if I was to take these two people that I'm thinking of and I was to put them into an illustration, they would look exactly like this, and it's crazy to me. But so to me, when it's not that I'm lazy, it's that it's comfortable, it's easy. I don't want to work for things. I don't want to do deep dives and try to figure out what the heck it's meaning, and read energy or a situation differently. This is just so straightforward, and it's beautiful. It's direct. It's very, I don't know. It just it's relatable. And I think that's the most important thing about it. I can just sit down, I can just do a reading with it, and I don't have to fight. I don't have to work for it. I don't have to do guesswork. I don't have to try to lay more cards to get a clearer message or anything like that. And I don't even use an oracle with this deck half the time because I feel it's just such a clear reading that I don't need to do that. And one of my most favorite cards in this deck, and I was right there, the High Priestess. I love her. And I don't know if we'll see her, the Queen of Cups. And there she is, the Queen of Cups. Because in my world, the Queen of Cups is my mom. And this deck, this card, reminds me of her so much in so many different ways. Just the energy of this card, the way she looks, everything about her. And I feel that the ages are being properly represented in these cards. The kings and queens have beautiful silver hair. The pages are youthful and young. And I feel like That is just so important. So this deck is awesome on so many levels. And this is the deck that I turn to when I'm lazy and I just want a nice, good reading. And the artwork. I mean, I love the artwork. And it just, I don't know, it speaks to me on a very everyday life language. And I love it. I'm such a huge fan of this deck. To me, this deck feels like a cup of chicken noodle soup and a warm blanket. It's just so comforting and just such a straightforward, easy read. So yeah, that is my Sloth deck. And that's the Sassarabito. So the last prompt is Pride, a deck you got for flexing. I don't really get decks to flex. So, the only thing I could think of is maybe a pricey deck, like one that cost me a lot of money, or maybe one that holds a higher price value, I guess. I don't really know. If I was to pick one that kind of, I guess, would fit into this category, I think it would be my Lucky 7 box. This could also have fallen down or fallen under the category of um envy a deck that you bought because others had it, because like honestly I didn't really need this. It's kind of the last thing I needed. I didn't need another tarot with with like 6 oracles, right? So but don't get me wrong, I love this box set. It's super cool. It's really neat. So let me just get out the little tarot here because we're talking about tarot. So I guess if I was going to put anything into this category, it would be the teeny tiny tarot, which is funny because it's teeny tiny. And you would think that a deck that you would flaunt if you were going to be doing that would be something, big and substantial and, whatever. But I don't know. I think it's this little one. And I love this little deck, by the way. It's a great read. It's a little pippish, but I'm okay with that. I like pips. When I'm in the mood for a pip, I like a good pip deck because it leaves a lot of room for interpretation. They're not crowding, I guess you would say. They're very open and airy. And I like that about pip decks. So I guess if I was to pick one that I said is a flex, I guess it's this. And the only reason why this one holds a hefty price tag is because I bought it in the box set. And, in Canada, things are a lot more expensive than they are in the States. So this had a pretty hefty price tag in it. And I actually sell this in my online store. And unfortunately, it does hold a hefty price tag. But what you're buying is a tarot card deck with 6 matching oracles, right? And they're really neat. It's a really neat system. I really, really like this deck. I actually keep this box set next to my bed, and I actually like to read this deck at night before I go to bed because it's just so open and it's it's a little funny. It's got a little bit of comedy to it. It's soft looking figures, and I don't know, I like reading it before I go to bed. It's kind of been my thing for a while now. And I love, like, look at it. Like, I love the cards. Like, that is such an awesome Eight of Wands. So cool. And I love that the cups are skulls. That is so cool. As you can see, I'm a fan of skulls. This is just one of my many skulls that I have. And this is my pyrite skull. Her name is Trinity. And she's about a 3.5-inch hand carved from Peru, I believe. Or I think that's where, I can't remember where they all come from. But she hangs out and she does all kinds of stuff with me. But yeah, so I guess if I was to say anything uh, as a flex, it would be the teeny tiny tarot, which is hilarious, right? It's like whatever. This card makes me, every time I see it, Emperor, the Emperor, right? And it's a cat, like purr. So cute. It makes me laugh. I don't know. I'm tired, so I probably find things funny that aren't even really that funny. But yeah, like I don't know. I love it. It's a great deck. It's a good read. I really enjoy what it has to say. It's really neat. Its artwork is so funny. I love it. It's interesting. It's worth the purchase, honestly. You don't have to buy the box set. They do sell them individually. I don't have them individually. I only have the box sets because I thought they were so cool that I was like, well, go big or go home, right? So that I guess would be my pride. And it would be a deck that I got for flexing. And the other ones that I showed you, the two museum qualities, they could have technically fell under this category as well, but they're so beautiful. I felt they were more for aesthetics than pride, right? So I don't know. That's what I got. So this is my pride deck, and that is the Lucky Seven box set with the teeny tiny tarot in it. So these were the decks that I had in my collection that I put into the categories for the seven deadly sins. It was an interesting thing to do. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of funny to sit back and look at the different decks that I had that fit into these categories. And the thing that I actually learned while doing this is I actually don't hold on to decks, like truly don't hold on to decks that don't resonate with me or don't serve a purpose. If I have very few decks that just sit around to look pretty. They are all functioning, they are all useful, they all have a purpose. And besides, a few, they're they're busy. I rotate between them. I use them seasonally. I use them with my tarot journal that I do every week. I find ways to use them and enjoy them. So, I don't know. This VR was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. So until I see you guys next time, take care and thanks for dropping in. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, subscribe so you can see more from me. And I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Thanks. Bye.